get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. I hope you guys are having an incredible Monday. Hopefully, you guys also had a very blessed weekend. With that being said, though, anybody that wants to leave any comments or topics to discuss on today's chat, make sure to leave those comments in the chat so that I can go address them during today's show. With that being said, though, we've got a lot to get into today. Obviously, on Friday, I talked about the fact that, hey, we have one of, if not the greatest women's card ever assembled going down that evening. I'll be breaking that card down. Then Saturday comes along and we have an incredible Ring 3 card. I'll be breaking all that down as well as some boxing news. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start off with what went down on Friday. There's no way I could possibly start off this segment other than by discussing the fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, number 3. This was a very interesting fight. You know, when we look at number 1 and 2, both of those two fights are regarded as two of the better fights that have gone down in women's boxing history. Absolutely entertaining, elevated the game of women's boxing, so on and so forth. And that's what led to them being able to headline this historic card at Madison Square Garden. Now, as we've now looked back at what happened in that ring on Friday night, it was nowhere near as good of a fight as the first two were. Very different game plans, very different styles, I should say, went into the fact of how they're game planning for that fight by both Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor won that fight. You could have called it a draw. That would have been okay. I had it actually listed as a draw in my opinion. But when you look at those two, Katie Taylor winning that was not shocking to me. What I'm really puzzled by is Amanda Serrano's game plan in that fight. We already know she's one of the greatest of all time. She's an incredible all-time great. She's going to be a Hall of Famer, so on and so forth. But what was that game style? Why did you decide to go into the ring that night and not go on the attack? What's made Amanda Serrano so great was her ability to get into the pocket, go out there and be on the attack, put the pressure on, so on and so forth. And yet that game plan seemed to be completely removed from that fight. Now, it didn't work in the first two, obviously, and you can make different debates with the head clash and so on and so forth. But for Amanda Serrano, it was a very disappointing night, I'd say, overall. You now lost 3-0 to Katie Taylor, and now you're in an interesting position. Obviously, there's not going to be a fourth fight. That fight's over with at this point in time. But that was a very interesting fight, just from a game plan. And I don't think that was exactly what Amanda Serrano should have done in that ring that night. However, she still is a great fighter. She still has many more years great left in herself. And she still is the world champion. She's still going to go back down to her natural weight class and go actually fight at that weight class moving forward. I think that's what's best for her. But what I really want to spend time discussing today is Katie Taylor. What happened on Friday night, you could easily make the case that she is the now most accomplished women's fighter of this generation. It's between her and Claressa Shields. If you're going to go by talent in and of itself, I would side on the side of Claressa Shields on that standpoint, but I would completely understand anybody's take for those that want to say Katie Taylor is the best. But when we're looking specifically at accomplishments and what she has done resume-wise, it's hard to argue that Katie Taylor is not the most accomplished women's boxer of this generation, one of the greatest of all time. And that leaves her in an interesting predicament now. Where does she go from here? No fight is going to be bigger than what just happened against Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano is a person that is regarded as one of the top 3-5 fighters in all the world, and there's not going to be another opponent that she can realistically fight to match that, from both a revenue standpoint, also from a talent standpoint. And so when you look at Katie Taylor, you're looking at somebody who has options on the table. You obviously could go against Michaela, you could go against Chantel and go to the third fight there for a trilogy, or the one, in my opinion, that makes the most sense is Alicia Baumgardner. When you talk about her performance, and I'll discuss that in a moment, she beat Jennifer Miranda in a pretty good win overall. Now, I think the scorecards were way too wide in that fight. I think they were a lot closer than what the scorecards said. But still, I believe Alicia came out and won that fight. And so that could be the biggest fight to make now. Katie Taylor and Alicia. Those two women would obviously have another great fight. You could make a lot of money off that. That, to me, is the most appealing fight for Katie Taylor, unless she decides to retire. And that's where I want to end up this segment discussing. What Katie Taylor has done over this generation is remarkable. You talk about her resume, who she has fought, who she has defeated, what she has accomplished in her career on not just Amanda Serrano, but the entire embodiment of what she has done as a boxer is remarkable. That is why I say she is now the most accomplished women's fighter of this generation. And you could easily say that she is one of the most accomplished women's fighters of all time. She is a legend, obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, but she's now become an icon of women's boxing. And I believe it's time to give her flowers and respect because what she has done for boxing is remarkable, is tremendous, and she deserves those flowers. So whether she decides to move on from boxing going forward, or she goes and takes a fight against Alicia, she goes and does Chantel for a third fight, or if it's against someone like Michaela, whatever case may be, She has earned the right to do whatever she wants. She is going down as one of the greatest of all time, and she's the legend of the sport. I just discussed Alicia Baumgardner, but also want to just point out, Janissa Green, what a performance by her. Upsetting Savannah Marshall. She goes out and then takes on the IBF and WBO super middleweight championships. Before that, Ellie Scottney, she had an incredible performance, defeating Mercado by unanimous decision. She takes away the IBF, WBO, and WBC belts. And then Shanika Johnson, she defeats Metcalf in the 9th round TKO in that fight. Great performance there as well. The other one I wanted to get into, Chantel Cameron, she defeats Jessica Camara, WBC interim lightweight champion now. She won by unanimous decision. Great showing by her as well. Let's go over to what happened on Saturday night now. Ring 3 goes down. And before I go any further, let me make this very clear. You cannot deny that Ring 3 was one heck of a card. From top to bottom, every fight on that card more than exceeded expectations. They were all phenomenal cards, and I want to make sure this is made very clear. There's a lot of people out there that are not too big of fans about Turki Al-Sheikh. I make this clear every single time I discuss this. You can be against some of the things he stands for and so on and so forth. But when you look at the general overall topic of is Turki Al-Sheikh good for boxing, there is no debate in that, in my opinion, that he is the best thing that you could possibly have for boxing right now. He is revolutionizing it. I don't like the term saving boxing. Boxing was always going to be around. But he is revolutionizing it, and he is growing the sport. And if you want to go hate on Turki Al-Sheikh, you can do what you want to do. But that is the wrong statement to make there. You cannot deny that this card was phenomenal. You cannot deny that what he is doing for boxing, from both the sparring thing we just saw happen last week, to the actual cards themselves, to the payment of the athletes, to so on and so forth. What Turki Al-Sheikh is doing for boxing is huge. He is revolutionizing the sport, and he's putting it back on the map on a very large scale, and it is huge for the sport of boxing. And what happened Saturday night only solidified that Turki Al-Sheikh is good for boxing. He is changing the way that boxing's done. And if you leave the political aspects and all those different things, if you disagree with that, out of the equation and just look at the results happening in the ring right now, you can't deny that he's good for boxing. So quit all the different being upset about not being historic boxing, about being different, about changing the things. No. Turki Al-Sheikh is great for boxing, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Let's go into the main event. Hamzah Sheeraz defeats Edgar Berlanga via 5th round TKO. 5th round KO. Exactly what I had planned in this fight. I made this very clear many times before. Edgar Berlanga is not that guy. When people want to go out there and discuss Berlanga, he has got himself into the position he's currently at because of this right here. He likes to use that mouth and talk of a big talk, but he does not know how to back up that talk in the ring. He can do it against guys that are not very good, but he was never going to be a legit competitor at the top of the levels. He was never going to be a legitimate world champion, and he was never going to be a legitimate world champion contender. There was always a clear gap. What got him into that position and became a quote-unquote star is his mouth, is his actions, the way he carries himself. And for that, I have to give him a round of applause. He has put himself in massive positions that his skill set and God-given ability should not have him in. If somebody else did not, if he didn't have the voice, if he did not have the way he carries himself, he would never have been in that Canelo Alvarez fight. He never would have had this Hamzah Sheeraz fight, so on and so forth. What has gotten him into this position and made him a quote-unquote star is the way that he talks and brands himself. And it is annoying. A lot of people hate him. He is a villain. But that has given him financial luxuries beyond anything his skill set ever should have provided for himself. So he deserves credit for that. But as I said time and time again, Hamzah Sheeraz was going to beat him. This was not going to be a very competitive fight unless Edgar Berlanga came out and had a miraculous home run KO. That was the only way. And he didn't do that. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. Hamzah Sheeraz put an absolute beating on Edgar Berlanga, broke him down quickly throughout that. Obviously, the first 2 rounds, you could argue who won those. But once we got to round 3, 4, and especially 5, Hamzah Sheeraz went on the gas. He took over that fight entirely. And he obviously knocked him down 2 times, finishing off with a massive TKO. That was the performance I think a lot of people thought the new boxing was going to happen. Edgar Berlanga and Hamzah Sheeraz skill sets were night and different. But what's unique about this is that Hamzah Sheeraz made a statement in that he showed his power in that fight. Hamzah Sheeraz fought Carlos Adames, and he should have lost that fight. I will say that time and time again. He should not have a draw. It should be a loss on his record. I understand that there might have been injuries, so on and so forth. This is boxing. That still should have been a loss when you go back in time. But that move to 168 was necessary. And I think that he probably was injured against Carlos Adames. I also think that Carlos Adames is obviously a much better fighter than Edgar Berlanga is. But when you talk about Hamzah Sheeraz, we're looking at a man who has all the skill set to be a legitimate contender and possible world champion at 168. It didn't all come to fruition at 160, unfortunately. But this move was necessary, and we saw him reap the rewards of that. Hamzah Sheeraz has the skill set, he has the technicality, he has all these different components that we know he's capable of. But what he proved that was really intriguing to me on Saturday night was that Hamzah Sheeraz also has that KO power against high-level type guys. When you talk about a guy that fought Canelo Alvarez and didn't get it knocked out of there, you could obviously look at Canelo Alvarez and question him quite a bit, and that rightfully so. But Hamzah Sheeraz showed that power as well. He has the full package that should allow him now to be a legitimate threat at 168. And there's lots of big fights to make there. Here's a few that come to mind. Now, before I list the actual ones I want to see, Turki Al-Sheikh said that Canelo Alvarez will face either Hamzah Sheeraz or Chris Eubank Jr. after his September 13th fight with Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't like that one yet. Hamzah Sheeraz had a good performance, but against Edgar Berlanga? Listen, this is not that guy. I just made that very clear. Beating Edgar Berlanga in your first fight at 168 should not give you a shot against Canelo Alvarez. Absolutely not. I like Hamzah Sheeraz, but I don't want to see that fight right now. Now, if you're telling me that we have an opportunity for Chris Eubank Jr. versus Hamzah Sheeraz to fight each other in December, January time, let's go make that fight happen. That would make a lot of sense in my opinion. But making that fight happen right now for Canelo Alvarez and Hamzah Sheeraz in the May Cinco de Mayo weekend would make no sense at all. I hope what we see is Hamzah Sheeraz get another fight in there. And that's why I want to go to who I think he should fight. Chris Eubank Jr. makes a lot of sense. Christian Billy or Diego Pacheco if he goes out and defeats Trevor McCumbee this weekend. Those are the fights I'd like to see before he gets a fight against Canelo Alvarez. And if he defeats those guys, then go ahead. Go give him a shot against Canelo Alvarez. He's then earned it. But beating Edgar Berlanga, come on. That's not the statement all around that I think some people think it is. That does not give you a shot at Canelo Alvarez. Now, would he give us a good fight against Canelo? Possibly. But right now, my whole game plan would be, listen, Hamzah Sheeraz, go take care of business against someone else. And then let's go get in the ring against Canelo Alvarez. It'd be best for him to get somebody that's better than Berlanga on his resume before fighting Canelo. It is also more acceptable now in my eyes, at least, as well. So Hamzah Sheeraz made a massive statement. Absolutely perfect performance by him. But let's get into something else I have to discuss. Andy Lee. When we look at boxers overall this year, midway through the year, Andy Lee has to be the trainer of the year. Has to be. Let me just give you guys a quick reflection. Joseph Parker is his. He had the devastating KO against Martin Bokoli in February. Patty puts the beats on Crocker. Then you go to Ben Whitaker. Obviously, he had a bad performance last year when he fought Riyadh. Then he goes out on Easter Sunday and has an exclamation KO against Liam Cameron. And now Hamzah Sheeraz KOs Edgar Berlanga. This year so far from Andy Lee has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. And when you look at that resume midway through the year, I don't see any other trainer that can compete with that at this point in time. He, in my opinion, is the trainer of the year midway through the year, and Andy Lee deserves his props because he is one of the hottest trainers in all the world right now. Let's head over to my last thing I want to say about this fight. Who is next for Edgar Berlanga? Listen, there's one fight to make, Caleb Plant. One fight, Caleb Plant. I don't see any other option right there. And the reason I say that is going back to what Edgar Berlanga does, he uses this real well. He knows how to build up a fight. He's not going to show all that stuff in the ring, but he's going to use this right now to elevate himself. And I'll give props to him. He does have heart. He got up off the canvas 2 times, went back and kept fighting, obviously got TKO'd then at that point in time. He has heart. But the skill set does not equate to what he brings to you in the ring. That is why a fight against Caleb Plant makes perfect sense in my opinion. You're looking at 2 different guys, both of them coming off of a loss. Both guys know how to use their mouths quite well and brand themselves excellent. This would be a fight that would sell quite well. The buildup would be excellent. These guys have had beef for a long time now. Get them in the ring. The winner gets himself right back in contention. The loser would have to rebuild themselves a little bit more. But that's the fight to make. And if we don't go down that route, there's a couple of the fights you could make. Steven Nelson would make sense in my opinion. You have some other guys, Edgar Berlanga could go out there and fight. But listen, no fight, in my opinion, makes more sense than Edgar Berlanga versus Caleb Plant. Let's hop over now into the co-main event, which I said all along. When Turkey was building up this card, I understand what he did. I get the whole thing he wanted to do with making Hamzah Sheeraz the main event. I know why he did it. Shakur Stevenson, Williams Zepeda should have been the main event. That was the most talked about fight, and at the end of the day, that was the biggest statement made, and the most talked about fight afterwards was Shakur Stevenson doing what he did to Williams-Zepeda. And I want to start off by saying this. I made it very clear that Shakur Stevenson was going to have a masterclass performance when I talked about this fight over the past couple of weeks since it got announced. I made it very clear, and a lot of people were saying, no, Shakur Stevenson's not going to go do that against Williams-Zepeda. Zepeda is the best fit for him, so on and so forth. No. I made it clear Shakur Stevenson was going to put on a masterclass against Williams-Zepeda because Zepeda was going to put the pressure on him, and you were going to see these talent level and skill set defense of Shakur Stevenson come to fruition against Williams-Zepeda. And that's exactly what happened. I'm going to read you guys some stats. First and foremost, Shakur Stevenson won by unanimous decision, absolutely routed Williams-Zepeda. Zepeda only won a couple rounds on the scorecards. This was a career best performance by Shakur Stevenson. But let me read you some stats about Shakur Stevenson. Stevenson landed 55.6% of his power punches and 52.2% of his total punches. His jabs also landed at 46%. On top of that, when you compare what he did against Williams-Zepeda, he outlanded Williams-Zepeda by 40 plus punches while throwing nearly 150 less punches than him. Do you understand how insane that is? Shakur Stevenson was barely hit in that fight. Yet he hit his opponent much more, even though he threw much less punches. His accuracy, 52% of total punches, 56% of power punches, 46% of jabs. That is outlandish numbers right there. And all I can say is this. I'm not somebody to go out here and say he is Floyd Mayweather 2.0. No, Floyd Mayweather is Floyd Mayweather. He's one of the greatest of all time. But you could easily see that there were lots of shades of Floyd Mayweather Jr. in Shakur Stevenson that night. And guess what? He's not Floyd Mayweather 2.0. He's Shakur Stevenson 1.0. This is Shakur Stevenson. He's taken bits and pieces from so many different boxers, but he certainly does have a lot of the instincts, a lot of the defense and skill set that Floyd Mayweather Jr. has. And that's what's scary about Shakur Stevenson. This man is still young. He still has a long career ahead of himself. And what he did on Saturday night proved that Shakur Stevenson is not just an elite fighter. He's not just a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter. This is a man that has a legitimate chance of being pound-for-pound number one in the future. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the number one lightweight in the world. Shakur Stevenson, not only that, but let me go even a step further. I think you can make a legitimate case that Shakur Stevenson might just be the next face of boxing over this next generation. That's the type of performance that Shakur Stevenson had. And yes, some people might go out there and say it's crazy to say that. No, it's not. People want to hate on Shakur Stevenson because he does not have extremely great knockout power. Because Shakur Stevenson does not always fight the way you want him to fight. Well, guess what? He fought that way on Saturday night, and he showed you. You want to see him do that? Look what he can do. He can fight whatever way you want him to fight, and he's still going to dominate the fight. It doesn't matter. Throw whoever you want against him. His only shot at losing is by going up against a guy with extreme KO power, that has one punch knockout power, that if he happens to somehow miraculously get clipped, that's the way the fight ends. But nobody is that realistically he would fight is going to be Shakur Stevenson. Nobody. Anyone at 140 or 147, unless they come out and it's going to be a one-punch knockout thing, Shakur Stevenson's beating them. This is that guy. He is the best lightweight in the world, and he would route anybody at 140 as well right now. That's what Shakur Stevenson's capable of. And it's time to give him his respect and credit, because what Shakur Stevenson can do is insane. There's no boxer fighting the way he's fighting right now at his age. He is that special of a fighter right now. Now, I'm not going to announce my pound-for-pound list yet. He did move up on it. I'm waiting until 1 week from today, after we have Usyk fight, after we have all the fights go down on Saturday, Bam Rodriguez, so on and so forth. I will give you guys an updated pound-for-pound list at that point in time. But for the time being, Shakur Stevenson did move up. He already was in my top 10, and he only moved up now. So I'll let you guys know where I have him at 1 week from the day. But I just want to go a little bit further on this aspect. Shakur Stevenson, what's next for him? There's one fight that makes the most sense. And I don't think it's going to happen, but Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank would lose that fight unless he lands that miraculous knockout on Shakur Stevenson. That's the biggest fight to make. We have been saying this for so long now. Make that fight happen. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I know who wants the fight, Shakur Stevenson. But there is a man who definitely does not want that fight, and his name is Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank Davis, I don't think he knows what he wants right now. Supposedly, he has not even been working out for the Lamont Roach fight. I'll be discussing that in a moment. But you're supposed to go make your rematch against Lamont Roach, who you cherry-picked to go get yourself a good fight there. You pulled him from 130. It was already an embarrassing fight to make to begin with. and then you got upset in that fight, or you should have lost that fight, but you come away and somehow win it or come out with the draw. You save your O in that fight. But listen, for Tank Davis, now you got your DV case you're going to deal with, and on top of that, we don't know when you're going to return to the ring. So Shakur Stevenson said this: it could happen next. He wants it to happen at Yankee Stadium in New York. Whenever he picks up the phone, it'll happen. He's crazy. He DMs me crazy stuff. This is the biggest fight in the world. Everybody wants to see the fight. Absolutely spot on, Shakur. And I think everybody in the world now knows that the man that wants the fight is Shakur. Tank Davis wants no part of that fight. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. I see why he doesn't want that fight. But if Tank Davis isn't going to start taking fights seriously, if he's going to keep staying in trouble with the law, it's time for people to stop respecting him. He's a good fighter, but he does not have a good resume. He does not want to fight the best, and he can't get out of trouble with the law. So for Tank Davis, if he turns himself around and makes a big fight here, that'd be great for himself. But that's the biggest fight to make. I don't think it's going to happen, but we will see what happens there. If that's not the case, how about this idea? Lamont Roach. I just talked about this. Lamont Roach is ready for that rematch with Tank Davis. He already should have that win against Tank Davis, but now he's being stalled out and waiting for this Tank Davis opportunity to get the rematch in. It was supposed to happen 1 month from now. But we have no announcement yet. Tank Davis just got arrested and supposedly hasn't even been working out the past few weeks. So that fight's not going to happen on August 16th. Who knows when it's going to happen? So Lamont Roach. Here's what boxing fans really want right now. Go make a fight with Shakur Stevenson. Can we see what that looks like? Listen, Lamont Roach is extremely skilled and talented. I think Shakur Stevenson will win that fight. But Lamont Roach, you have a big name now. You guys could cash out big time with each other. Let's go see an extremely high-level technical battle in the ring between you two. Tank Davis, if he wants to join the party at some point, all people would easily welcome into that. You can go fight the winner of that fight if he wants to come back. But at this point in time, it's pointless to keep waiting for Tank Davis. Absolutely pointless. Stop waiting for Tank Davis. Go take action. Make the fight happen ASAP. And so if you're Lamont Roach and Shakur Stevenson, go book the fight and make it happen. And if that's not on the table, Floyd Schofield Jr. would be the fight to make for Shakur Stevenson. That would be exciting as well. A good fight. Go make it happen. For Williams-Zepeda, where does he go from here? Well, if Floyd Schofield Jr. doesn't have a fight ready for anybody else, let's say Shakur Stevenson gets the fight with Lamont Roach or Tank Davis. At that point in time, Floyd Schofield Jr. versus Williams-Zepeda is the fight to make. Makes perfect sense. And if Floyd wins that fight, go out there and fight Shakur Stevenson. It's a perfect fight to get you ready for that one. And outside of that one, Joe Cordina. I could also see that fight happening for Williams-Zepeda. That'd be a good bounce back win as well. Let's go to the other fight I want to discuss on this card, which in my opinion was it was the best fight on the card. It's not for me. I was looking at my top fights of the year. It fell just shy of that top 10 of the top 5 for me. But Puello-Matias, Alberto Puello via majority decision, 114-114, 115-113, 115-113 in favor of Matias. Absolutely amazing fight. Hats off to both those guys. I was proven wrong from the standpoint of I thought Alberto Puello would have won if it went to decision. I always predicted. My prediction was that Puello-Matias would win by KO. That was my prediction. Matias ended up winning the fight by decision, though. Massive props to Puello-Matias and Alberto Puello. Both guys went out there and fought for 12 hard-fought rounds. Both guys went to absolute war. Alberto Puello did not let up, and you could easily make a case that he won that fight. It could have gone either way. I had Matias winning it, but either way, that fight could have gone for either guy's side. And this is a fight that let me put this out there. Can we please get the rematch? I know Turkey Al-Sheikh, and if that's the fight you want to make for Dalton Smith with Matias, make it happen. Go ahead. But there was a rematch clause in that fight. And if you're Alberto Puello, you want that rematch. There's no other fight you'd take right now other than that rematch, unless Turkey gives you big payday to step aside. If that's not the case, though, I want to see Alberto Puello, Subriel, and Matias one more time. That fight was phenomenal. Those guys gave the fans an incredible fight. That was exciting. That was entertaining. That was great for boxing. That was an excellent performance. Both those guys put on an absolute show, and I just hope this. I want to see these two guys run it back one more time. Can we please get a rematch of Subriel Matias and Alberto Puello? That's the fight to make. I can pass on Dalton Smith. We don't need to see that fight next. Let's go get Subriel Matias, Alberto Puello back in that ring and fight it back one more time. Run that thing back. That was an incredible fight. As I said, it's not fight of the year, but it's a fight of the year contender. Two guys that put the pressure on all fight. Absolutely amazing performance. As I said, it could have gone either way. For Alberto Puello, he proved something to me. I said he should have lost the Sandor Martin fight. I still stand by that. But what I was curious was, is Alberto Puello at a point of his career where he's starting to drift? Does he no longer have that prime self in him anymore? He showed that he still has it. He still can compete at a very high level, and that was good to see from him. As for Puello-Matias, this is a man that I felt got so disrespected against Liam Paro. It was a bad night at the office for him, that fight. But I don't think that was the man that Puello-Matias typically is. Something was off in that fight. He proved that in his bounce-back fights, and then against Alberto Puello. He won the fight. He has great perseverance. He made the proper adjustments, and that man is a guy that, okay, yes, he does have some skill deficiencies, but that man's gas tank is insane. He goes on the attack time after time. You're looking at round 10, 11, 12. He's still fighting as if he's in round 1, 2, or 3. That man does not let the gas. He has to be a frustrating fighter to fight against because, listen, you will be having punches thrown at you from the start of that fight to the end of the fight. There is very few guys in boxing that can fight at that level and with that type of output. He is one of the most entertaining fighters to watch in boxing, and it's hard not to root for that guy. He is fun to watch. He is a very good, solid boxer overall, but his pressure, his gas tank is what separates him. That is his number one thing. He does have a lot of defense and skill deficiencies, but when he is able to utilize that gas tank the way he did on Saturday night, it just showed why he is a guy that's now world champion once again. So hats off to Subriel-Matias, an excellent performance by him, and I do hope once again that there is a rematch in this fight. All right. The first fight from the main card that happened on Saturday night, David Morrell and Morrell-Khataev. David Morrell won by split decision, 94-95, 96-93, 95-94. What the heck was that 96-93 card? In my honest opinion, this fight should have either been a draw or Morrell-Khataev won that fight. I had it as Morrell-Khataev winning that fight by 1 round. He was the winner of that fight. He dominated the whole first half. Then you could make a very good debate that Morrell won the second half of the fight. You could make a debate that Khataev won one of those rounds in the second half of the fight, though. Either way, a draw or Khataev comes out with the victory. I don't see any route in which David Morrell won that fight. And that's my honest opinion. Hats off to David Morrell the way he stepped up and turned the entire game plan in the second half of the fight. He made that second half of the fight incredible. One heck of a fight the second half. But that still was not enough to win the fight. He was nearly non-existent the entire first half of the fight. And I don't see how there's a route in which we could say that he came away and truly won that fight. I know there's a few people out there that believe it. In my honest opinion, David Morrell did not win that fight. And Morrell-Khataev was robbed. But we'll see what happens. Now, in this fight, there's no rematch clause. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch because the second half of the fight was excellent. The first half was not very good, though. But for Morrell, I think he's going to move forward. Callum Smith is a fight to make. I want to see Callum Smith versus David Benavidez. David Benavidez will fight Anthony Yarde instead. I'll go with that. Callum Smith needs a dancing partner. David Morrell, go make that fight happen. That's a perfect fight to happen. That's the fight to make. And the winner of that obviously would be elevating themselves to a great position to fight for world championship. That's the fight to make. For Morrell-Khataev, go get a bounce-back win. Plenty of guys. Malik Zanad, Buatsi, Willie Hutchinson, Zach Parker. Those are the names that come to mind. All of them would be excellent matches for him to go out there and fight in his comeback fight. That's what I'd like to go out there and see. Let's head into some boxing news now. Turki Al-Sheikh tells Mike Coppinger he's hoping to deliver 2 big fights on the Canelo-Crawford undercard. Christian and Billy versus Lester Martinez in the battle of the big babies with Jarrell Miller versus Jared Anderson. I've already given my thoughts on the big baby fight. I love it. That is a fight that we need. And hopefully from America's standpoint, Jared Anderson can beat Jarrell Miller. Because if big baby goes out there and loses to the big baby, I should say, American heavyweight division is really in trouble. Jared Anderson is the young superstar. I don't want to call him superstars. The young future of American heavyweight boxing, at least that we see on paper at this point in time. If he loses to the old aging Jarrell Miller, there's serious problems. Losing to Martin Bakole is one thing at the age of 24. If he goes out there and loses to Jarrell Miller, the future of the American heavyweight division is very bleak. But if he goes out there and wins, that is a massive statement fight to get him ready for the future now. And that's a fight I hope does get made. I like the idea. And Billy Lester Martinez also is a good fight. Lester was supposed to go out there and fight in the pro box card until he had the brain issue. Ends up being not a serious issue. They got fixed and solved. Hopefully they said it's now going to be taken care of moving forward. But Lester Martinez and Billy would be an absolute war and an excellent fight for that undercard to have on that card there. Catterall, Ekow, Essuman is rumored to be on the Riyadh season November card. That card already is, in my opinion, potentially going to be one of the greatest of all time. obviously, in my opinion, February 22nd card was phenomenal. This card has a chance to rival that one and possibly even beat it. We'll see how that ends up unfolding there. But those two guys are now being rumored to be fighting each other now, and that would be a huge fight for them at 147. All right. Former title challenger Abraham Nova stepping in to fight Raymond Ford on August 16th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Massive props to Abraham Nova. All honesty, big props. You are 1 month out from a fight against a man that is one of the biggest rising stars in boxing, in my opinion, in Raymond Ford. That is a man that is on the rise. He's going to be a pound-for-pound great. He's a rising superstar. To take that fight on 1 month notice, massive props to Nova. That's huge for him. Much respect. But you're going to get beaten. It's going to be a brutal fight for Abraham Nova. Raymond Ford is not the type of guy that you want to go fight on short notice. Raymond Ford is not the type of guy that you want to fight, period. But on short notice, I know it's not that short. You still have a month, but still. There's 10 times out of 10 Raymond Ford wins that fight. It's just a matter of how he wants to do it. And if you're Nova, it's going to be a tough night at the office for you against Raymond Ford. I give Raymond Ford every advantage. It should be an easy win, an easy fight for Raymond Ford. Eddy Reynoso also says that he will no longer train or associate with fighters if he can't oversee their nutrition and supplements. Eddy Reynoso, I have to give you props for this one. That is one heck of a statement and idea to come out to save yourself PR-wise. Excellent idea. To come out and say essentially, listen, I know everybody's putting the blame on me because all my fighters keep testing positive for PEDs. So guess what? I'm not going to fight with guys if I can't control their nutrition now. Essentially saying that you have no idea what's going on and that it's not your fault. Actually, great job twisting those things in the situation to make yourself look innocent or save your name and face. But that's not fooling a lot of people. There's lots of different groups out there. You're the guy in charge of all these different guys, and you're the man that's behind all the guys testing positive for PEDs. Very few of the boxers have PED issues. And then we look at your camp, and you have 5-6 dudes or whatever it is now coming out of there. We're not falling for it. Good idea. Hopefully you do start to crack down on it and get rid of the PEDs. And we'll see how your fighters look in the ring then. But anyone else, so props on you for trying to go out there and save face. I just don't see it realistically working, and I think it's still, you have a large part to do with what's all happening with your fighters. End of discussion. Last thing for today's show that I want to get into is in regards to something I already discussed a little bit, and that is talking about Tank Davis. Let me give you guys the facts. With Gervonta Tank Davis-Lamont Roach rematch obviously not happening August 16th, PBC is now looking to scheduling it for now looking to schedule it for August 23rd or August 30th in Las Vegas. It's not clear if that's realistic at this point. Was told Tank hadn't been training for 3 weeks before he was arrested again early Friday morning. Oh my gosh. Listen, what Tank Davis is doing to Lamont Roach right now is ridiculous. When we go back about a year ago and this fight was starting to get announced, nobody wanted it. Everybody called it cherry picking fight. It was a horrible fight to make. Nobody wanted it. Now, we were proven wrong because that fight was actually pretty good. Lamont Roach stepped it up, exposed Tank Davis. Hats off to Lamont Roach. I've said that time and time again. But still, Tank Davis, his entire plan in that fight was to go out there and cherry pick a fight against Lamont Roach. He didn't want to go fight Shakur. He didn't want to go out there and fight the best guys. So he cherry picked a man at 130 to go out there, beat up and fight and say he beat another world champion essentially. Yeah, that went backwards. But also, that fight was postponed time after time after time. Ridiculous. No excuses for that being made. He wanted to keep on postponing that fight, and we didn't end up getting it up until March. All right, it is what it is. Now, Tank Davis obviously has the draw against Lamont Roach when he should have lost. And what we are in a situation now is this fight should have happened or is about ready to happen. There is no excuse for this fight not being made and scheduled already. And we're getting to a point where the rumored date of August 16th is quickly approaching. 1 month out. No announcement, nothing's come out, and we find out that leading up to his arrest on Friday, he hasn't even been working out for the past 3 weeks. So, of course, there's no way in this world August 16th was realistic. And on top of that, I don't think August 23rd or maybe even August 30th makes any sense. I think at this point in time, Lamont Roach needs to make a business decision ASAP. You can either wait around and let Tank Davis stall out your career, or you can make a big fight right now. And if I'm Lamont Roach, I'm calling Shakur Stevenson saying right now, listen, I want my get back in his Tank. I want to go fight him. I know I beat him the first time, but listen, I can't trust that man. At the end of the day, I want us to stay active. I want to get back in that ring, and I want to make money. And you know who you call who I know is going to take that fight? Shakur Stevenson. Go make the phone call. Stop wasting your time with Tank Davis. Unless this fight gets booked, and you put certain contract stipulations in there that say, you know what, we're not removing this fight. We're not rebooking it, nothing. This fight happens then, otherwise I'm getting paid money. Stop letting Tank Davis screw over your career right now and make you stall out more and more. Go call up Shakur Stevenson. That's a much more realistic fight. And honestly, you know Shakur will take that fight. When at the same time, you don't know if the same is true for Tank Davis. You don't even know if Tank Davis wants that fight because all we keep hearing are these rumors that Tank Davis and Jake Paul is going to fight. Now it's Tank Davis. Who knows what's going to happen? And who knows what's going to happen with Tank Davis' legal case? There's a lot of stuff in play right now if you're Tank Davis, if you're Lamont Roach. And if I were him, I'm getting rid of the Tank Davis plans and I'm booking my ideas with Shakur Stevenson or somebody else. Stop wasting time. Go make the big fight happen. From a PBC standpoint, though, there was a massive co-main event. O'Shaquie Foster versus Stephen Coolboy Fulton. That is a blockbuster fight. That fight should still stay on for August 16th. Both guys have been in camp. Both guys are ready for that fight to happen. Do not get rid of the August 16th date unless you can confirm without a shadow of a doubt that August 23rd or August 30th will be locked in stone for Tank Davis. If those are not guaranteed, keep the entire card set for August 16th. Let those two guys headline the fight card. Make it a free card. Move it over to somewhere else. It doesn't have to be at a big stadium. Mandalay Bay or something. Move it over. Let those guys be the main event and go out there and have a big-time fight. Put it on regular prime. No pay-per-view. That's the thing to happen. You already have the undercard set. Let that fight be the main event because that's a huge fight to happen. True boxing fans know that O'Shaquie Foster, Stephen Coolboy Fulton is a huge fight. We all want to see it. Please don't let those guys get screwed over because of the Tank Davis situation. Keep that fight on. Let it be the main event. And at that point in time, Tank and Roach, or whatever happens in regards to Tank, that can happen another time. You made a great fight. Keep that fight booked for August. Let's see it happen. That's my thoughts on how they should proceed from PBC standpoint. Hopefully that happens because I don't want to be in a position where we lose out on O'Shaquie Foster versus Coolboy Fulton because that's a massive fight to make. With that being said, though, I appreciate you guys all for tuning in to today's show. I'm going to go see you guys back here tomorrow live at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'll have a guest who will be announced about afternoon time tomorrow. I'll let you guys know who that is. But I hope you guys have a great rest of you guys Monday. I will see you guys back here, like I said, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. May God bless you guys all. I hope you guys have an incredible rest of you guys Monday and start you guys Tuesday. I will see you guys tomorrow. May God bless you guys all. And with that being said, SchuZ out. See you guys tomorrow.